256.
Couple stories lined up. What up, nerds? I know the ne'er-do-wolves know this very well because we speak about this often in regards to Shane Gillis's situation. And I was not aware of this gentleman until I saw a stand-up clip. And what stood out to me is he said, I had to take a dip out to come up here. And I thought that was pretty funny and reminded me of some kids that I had played baseball with and just kind of had a real kind of chill demeanor. And then you hear this kind of blows up and then you're like, oh, that's that same dude. Then you go watch the videos and it's like, all right, it's a podcast and they're having a conversation. Are they playing a game? Is this inside jokes? Is this a thing that, are they just pulling a clip of this? Whatever. It's forced apology. And then the apology's never enough. And so, they make their decision. And then everybody else makes their decision, except they didn't. They were reacting in the same way they react every single time, is that the most respected comedians are horrified at the fact that somebody else in the craft would spend time wishing, I guess, ill will for another performer. But we are in this time now where I want you to pay attention. I want you to really, really, really pay attention. All right? If everybody's so freaked out that China is the superpower and we are going to have to, whatever the fuck, if it's an economic war, if things go south, all right, and it becomes an actual legit superpower versus superpower situation, it is going to be America, all hands on deck. And are you going to want to fuel a society? Think about what the fever pitch is now. Think about what the fever pitch will be then to find people acting in an anti-American way. What if they're making it up? It used to be in a smaller society, if two people had a disagreement, then they would talk to each other and they would say, okay. And they would listen. And they would listen as an art, because that's how you grew, by trading that information. And I think sometimes we're just so in running out to just be the first person to say something, we should probably sit back and listen. And that's great. But back in the day, you would do that and you would reach a conclusion. You would maybe shake hands. You would say, hey, maybe we're not going to be around each other moving forward. Maybe everything was squashed, forgiven, and forgotten. Imagine having the choice to forgive and the choice to forget and the choice to be forgotten. Could you imagine that? Except now in our current society, and mind you, the fever pitch of the informant, as we're leading to, more than likely, folks, a conflict. The conflict is going to change the very paradigm. And where will that fever pitch be when it hits that level? So think about what you're doing today and the people who are celebrating the fact that somebody's losing work. I mean, celebrating the fact ultimately that, I don't know, somebody's mom and dad is super disappointed and feels bad for them. I don't know, does this dude have student loans? Did he have to get an apartment? I mean, who knows how many hurdles had to be done for it to be undone? But that's where we're at, because in the real world, people in the business and in art would have a conversation and they would reach an agreement. And now what you have is, you have somebody, a third party outside of this conversation who, I'm so offended. Or you were looking to be offended. How else do these clips get found unless somebody is specifically looking for these kind of clips? Could you imagine having to be that person all day? Ugh. So that person's just, they're specifically looking for these things, which is phenomenal. It's wild. And so instead of having a one-to-one conversation, one person outside of the purview of everybody else passes along to somebody else. Oh, yeah, I'm just offended as you are. Let's send it over here. I bet they're as offended as we thought you would be when you looked at something to find that you were going to find offensive. We're all surprised that you found something offensive, and now we're all equally offended by what you found offensive. What can we do? Let's get more people on board, where instead of two people having a conversation and things actually being listened to and worked out, by the time it rears its ugly head, the stories have been written, the think pieces have already been written, all the T's are crossed, the I's are dotted, and everything is in place, and they drop it. And you got to see it for the tactic that it is. And again, to celebrate the fact that somebody's losing work, I can't fathom what it would be like to spend part of a day where that would be a good idea. Just to have, even in that, just awareness. So I would caution now the heating up of the informant culture, in the rise of the execution culture. Because when they change definitions, there are folks right now who hate America so much they think it is moral to act anti-American. And this game will change. You must know that this game will change. And so the people who wake up excited that people are, failing, whatever. I mean, could you imagine just having that as the thought that is present with you throughout the day, when we all know better, for those of us who, enjoy our very day because we get to be passionately creative as an artist and celebrate the fact that our friends are working hard and the fruits of their labors are leading them to better endeavors, and to be excited for everybody, even people that you might disagree with, people who might be just absolutely annoying online. If something great happens for them, why would you not be fucking excited? Think about that. We're in the entertainment and let's have a fucking good time business. Could you imagine just spending your day stoked? So when I see activity like this, I'm not surprised by it. The people on the one side always acted like the people on that side, and the people on this side always acted like the people on this side. And we'll take it all the way back, whether it's the early 80s and it's punk rock or metal. If it's people who thought Eddie Murphy was, they thought he was offensive in his heyday, and as culture now morphs, those same people are still those same people. Except there's a way to turn your hatred in a fashion that is very, very profitable. And while it's short money, it is going to be long time. There will be long time to reflect on anybody who is complicit in the rise of this. Because when it flips, folks, it will not be fucking puppies and rainbows and unicorns. It will be all hands on deck. And the America is supposed to be in the defense of our moms and dads and where we were born and our friends and family. Then we should, heaven forbid, celebrate each other as individual human beings, as not as one side to be eradicated because you chose. Remember, you chose by any means necessary to take down your enemy. You chose to become offended and to share that offense. And for those people who live in that kind of a snitch rat culture, I feel bad for you that you got to live like that. For the rest of us who live differently, for the rest of us who, as Bill Burr said, were raised right, that we know differently. And again, the pendulum will do its work, ladies and gentlemen. God bless America. And if you're an artist on all sides of this, may God bless you in your endeavors. And what you put out ultimately will indeed come back. Absolutely.